I am Bridget Lake, President of the Oviedo Winter Springs Regional Chamber of Commerce, and we are here with Barra running for state attorney serving both Orange and Osceola County. Our premier virtual Eastside Regional Hob Nob is presented by Lucas Land Group, an Oviedo-based family-run business with interests throughout Central Florida. Our sponsor, Duke Energy, and our radio sponsor, 96.5 WDBO. Now, before we get into our intriguing discussion, let's watch a quick commercial by our sponsor, Duke Energy.
You deserve a smarter energy future, now. That's why Duke Energy is investing in advanced technology that improves reliability and helps prevent outages, that strengthens the grid against everything from storms to cyber attacks, moves the most vulnerable lines underground, and adds more solar, because you deserve stronger, cleaner, more reliable energy, and we're determined to deliver it. We're Duke Energy, and we're building your smarter energy future today.
And now we are back with Deborah Barra, running for state attorney serving both Orange and Osceola County. She is one of our candidates at the Eastside Regional Hob Nob. Deb, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me today.
And before we get into our conversation, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I am a prosecutor. I've been a prosecutor for 17 years. I've served under 3 elected state attorneys. So I've also served on the management team of each one of those elected state attorneys. So I've had kind of a front row seat in terms of what works, what doesn't work, what could be improved upon. Personally, I'm a trial attorney. I've gone to trial on every type of case from misdemeanors to death penalty. I have personally convicted 43 sex offenders and child molesters at trial. I also convicted I received the first life sentence for convicting a sex trafficker of a juvenile in the state of Florida. I've convicted a politician of bribery, and I'm probably one of the few people in the country that can say I successfully convicted a police officer at trial. So that's a little bit about me as a prosecutor, but you know, the role that I'm going for is state attorney, and I think that it's critical to be a great prosecutor to hold that position, but it's not the only skill set that you need, because the state attorney, their budget right now is $26.2 million, and we have over 400 employees in 5 different locations. And so you are running an organization, and you need managerial experience to do that. So for the past 3.5 years, I have kind of ingrained myself in the daily operations of the office. I handle all the hiring of employees. I do the firing. I help out with the budget. I deal with FMLA issues. Obviously with COVID, we're protecting our employees as best as we can. And so, you know, as I said, I've been a prosecutor for 17 years, but I've been implementing the policies and procedures of somebody else throughout my career. And now I'm ready to implement my own.
And that is interesting. Why don't you clarify for everyone what a state attorney does?
Yeah, so the state attorney is the head law enforcement officer for, in this case, it's Orange and Osceola counties. So whenever the police make an arrest, that case goes to the state attorney's office, and we decide what to do with it. So technically, a law enforcement officer can arrest somebody and put them in jail for up to 33 days. But if we don't file on that case, if we don't charge it, then that person will be released and they can go on their way. The power of the state attorney's office is that if we do file charges, you know, we can potentially take away your freedom for the rest of your life. And we also make the decisions in terms of, well, if somebody has simply made a mistake and, you know, they're still productive members of society, we have diversion programs where you might have to do some community service hours, and then we drop your case, and everything in between.
How do you decide which charges are to be brought?
Well, so law enforcement brings all the charges to us, and then we evaluate them to see if there's enough evidence to go forward. So the standard of proof with law enforcement is probable cause. You've probably heard that term before. And probable cause is more likely than not, is really, it's kind of that balancing, more likely than not that it happened. Now, our standard of proof for a jury is beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt. So it's a much higher standard. So you may have probable cause where, okay, the guy probably did it, but we have to review it to make sure that we can prove it beyond a reasonable doubt to a jury.
And what do you feel that you bring to the state attorney position that, you know, beyond your opponents? Like, what is your greatest asset?
Sure. So it's a combination of being a solid, good prosecutor, because you're leading an office of prosecutors, and I've been there for 17 years. I pretty much grew up in that office, and I've never left. I got the job there when I was an intern. I loved it. I love the people I work with. I know them. I know their skill sets. And I think that that's really important, and that's something that none of my opponents have. And in addition to that, I have the managerial experience that none of my opponents have. I think serving under 3 different elected state attorneys that have, if you could have 3 polar opposites in terms of their vision of what the state attorney office is, we've had that. And I've really, truly have been able to see what works and what doesn't. And I think you can learn more from mistakes than success. And I think that that's important moving forward. And again, none of my opponents have that experience.
So let's change the subject a little. Tell us a little bit about your family.
So I am very fortunate. I have a very close family. We actually most of us live in the same neighborhood. It's a little disgusting. My parents have a house not too far from my house, and one of my brothers has a house not too far from them. And so we have family dinner once a week, obviously before COVID struck. But if you were going to get out of family dinner, you pretty much needed a doctor's note. It's very serious in my household. So I have 2 older brothers, and they instilled this level of, I think, competitiveness, to say the least, in me. And they're great. My parents have been married for over 50 years. And, you know, we're just really tight, and it's just great to have that. And I know a lot of people don't have a support system like that, and I've been very blessed and very fortunate.
Now, I read a little bit of your bio, and it said that you were punched by a kangaroo in Australia. Did you happen to throw charges at this kangaroo?
No, but it was very unexpected. I mean, I was probably in the wrong because I got really close. We were on a golf course, and there's just, in Australia, there's just kangaroos everywhere. And so we went to the golf course just to see them. And this kangaroo had a joey in its pouch. And so, of course, I thought that was the most adorable thing ever. So I got probably a little too close. And then all of a sudden it was poof. And I was like, whoa. So yeah, that was my mistake. I'm sure it's a very nice kangaroo.
I'm sure. And it also mentioned that you became captain of the Dr. Phillips High School basketball team. How do you feel that may prepare you if you do happen to get elected as the state's attorney?
So it was a great experience. I mean, anybody who ever has played sports and has, I guess, experience with team sports in particular, it's a lot of teamwork from the beginning, and especially at a young age and somebody in high school leading a team, any team, I think it's really valuable, and it kind of sets the stage. And I think that helped me a lot when I went to undergraduate at Flagler College. I was president of the student body. And then that, I think, helped me get into law school, which then helped me become obviously a prosecutor. So I think everything builds on what you've done before. So it was great. I loved it. I loved my team. It was a wonderful experience.
You mentioned having two brothers and being very competitive. Who's better at sports? I guess I should ask basketball or any sport?
Any sport. It's absolutely me. They will completely disagree. In fact, both of my brothers could have played, college sports, and they were very, it's a pretty athletic family. But it's actually kind of funny because I had prosecuted a case involving Christy Martin, who is a professional boxer. And she was a victim of domestic violence, and she's an incredible person. She was on the cover of Sports Illustrated, and ESPN actually called me recently to do an interview about that case and my role in prosecuting her abuser. And so I got to tell my brothers that, I made ESPN well before they ever did. So.
Deb, thank you so much for joining us. Is there anything else you would like to add?
No, I just want to say, this race is really important. It's important to make sure that the right person is in the position. And I sincerely hope that I can have everybody's vote on August 18th.
Thank you so much. And we are here with Deb Barra. She is running for state attorney, serving both Orange and Osceola County. She is one of our candidates at the Eastside Regional Hob Nob. We have our virtual Hob Nob on June 30th, starting at 5:30 p.m. Make sure to check out esrhobnob.com. And coming up, we will have lots of information, one-on-one interviews on our candidates, and so much more. We will see you then. Thank you so much, Deb.
Thank you.